Hello, comrade. Freedom fighters for the sovereignty and for real independence. Hello. Let us give thanks to God, who has made it possible for this great day to take place and for us to meet in this venue of the sport complex to discuss the future of our homeland, following your decisions on May 25th to entrust with us the destiny of our homeland for another 5 years. Thank you. We do not see this as a mandate, but we understood it as a message that was passed to us, and the message was well received, and we will do everything to always deserve your trust. Permit me also to render a vibrant homage to all our defense forces, our internal security forces, our valiant volunteers for the defense of the homeland, and all the populations who live in this area with high security challenges, and who still stand, and we pay tributes to them and thank them for all the sacrifice made for our homeland. I ask that we may therefore observe a minute of silence to honor the memory of all those who lost their lives in this fight. That their souls may rest in peace and the wounded may find good healing. Comrades, the emotions is certainly great, but let me articulate my remarks in 3 phases. The first phase will concern the step from which I will explain to you how we see this war. The second phase, we will dedicate ourselves to explain why we must continue to fight. And after this phase, the most important thing will be to briefly outline the vision for the future. If I may express myself like that. During these 20 or so months spent as the head of state, we had to meet several politicians from all over the world. We met hundreds of diplomats who came from all over. We met businessmen from all over the world. We were open to all these exchanges, to all these discussions, to be able to learn from the world, to be able to understand the world. And today, I think this is a good opportunity for me to explain to you what conclusions we have drawn from all these appointments that we had with politicians from all the continents, diplomats from all the continents. We have drawn very important conclusions, and that should allow you to understand the world, because often in our countries, we do not have these prospects of being able to have access to some people who will teach you a lot of things through their behaviors and also telling you how he sees us. Comrade, God created the world with all this, like happiness, unhappiness, good, bad, humans, the elderly, animals, and everything that goes with it. But we humans have decided to make the world different thing. Among the imperialists, they have a vision of the world that I am going to explain to you. For them, the world boils down to a triangle. You will see the triangle in most of their badges. Maybe you do not understand, but the world is summed up in one triangle. To them, the top of the triangle is the empire of good, and the empire of good is them. It is prosperity, it is everything that is positive. It is them who have the right to all that is happiness in this world. It is them who have the right to all the riches. It is up to them to impose their ways of seeing the world. It is up to them to impose their visions, their ways of life. That is why, during the colonization, their conquest, I would say, they came to our land and they said that they discover our land because to them, we are savages. We have nothing like them. So they called us indigenous and they were the people. They arrogate to themselves all the rights. And for them, the world must work the way they want. It's simple. I will take a few examples. Look through their films. They prepare the mind of their people to make them understand that they are the best. They are the ones who must possess everything. You will not see the opposite. In all their films that they propagate, you will always find the bad guys are either Russians or South Americans or the blacks who play the bad role. Of drug traffickers, human trafficking, proxies. Until recent past, of course, you will find the Arabs who play the role of terrorists. This is a little bit how they perceive the world. When I took a look on economic, who among us has not treated Chinese products or Shintok products, as we like to call it, a bad product? But today, I am able to tell you that we are completely wrong because China has a fairly high level of advanced technology. And it is in China that most of these countries come to improvise, put their brand on it and sell it to us as their own property. Look around you. Our entrepreneurs who are in construction do not say the opposite. All their machines today are Chinese. Those who are into transport will not say otherwise. They lied to us because we went around the world a little in 20 months to look for companies, to look for factories, and we understood that everything was coming from there. But through their communications, they made us hate everything Chinese and want to make us understand that what is good does not necessarily come from there. It is simple. Go back in time. To better understand what I am saying, it is necessary to go back in time. And I hope that some will go and read. Who were the Tars, the Mongolians, Asians, Turks, and Ottoman Empire? Read their history. You will understand why the world is made like this. On the basis of the triangle, there are two empires. On one side, the empire of evil according to them, and the slave empire on the other side. That is how they see the world. The one they called the evil empire, what I just mentioned, the origin. And I told you to go back in time and read. You will understand why we are the empires of evil in their eyes. They are fighting the empire of evil. To them, the evil empire must disappear. To them, the evil empire embodies the devil. They communicate and they make their people understand. That is why after the Second World War in the 80s, I will take the case of Russia, where all the stratagems were implemented to bring it down, with President Gorbachev. In the United States was President Ronald Reagan, who was maneuvering. Three main stratagems catch our attention. They went to the level of Saudi Arabia to ask them to lower the price of oil from $35 to $7 to collapse Russian economy. Parallel to this, the second stratagem. Don't forget something. These same people who are just from leaving Afghanistan, supposedly fighting the Taliban. The Taliban were received by President Ronald Reagan at the White House. They were armed by the CIA with the famous Stinger ground-based missile that were delivered to the Taliban for fighting Russia. And later they came to supposedly fight them. Go ahead and understand. The third stratagem was a bluff, the IDS Star War project. Read, you will understand why they brought President Gorbachev to create the Project Paulus, who pushed Russia when Russia had collapsed. Those who claim to be from the Empire of Good have begun to rejoice until this team came with Vladimir Putin to try to bring Russia back to the surface. The evil empire. The evil empire, as they call it, has suffered a lot. Look at Iran today. All the sanctions. Look how they codify certain people. By communication, they can get you to hate people or to love people. They are very strong in communication and they go through all possible channels. Look at the war that they invented, everything for their own interests. And finally, the empire of slaves, according to them, is Africa. And some South Americans, in their head, as I said earlier, Africa belongs to them. Our land belongs to them. The riches of Africa are for them. And they cannot conceive that Africans can emancipate themselves and get their head out of water and want to stand up for themselves. And for that, they put a cliche in their head. Africans are easy to manipulate and he is emotional. They will always find an African to fight against his brother. And it has always been like that. Through communication, they brought you to hate your own skin color. In our cultures, and in many cultures in Burkina Faso, mourning was symbolized by the color blue. When a woman loses her husband, she wears blue clothes to mourn for a while. They are the ones who came to tell you that black symbolizes mourning, hell, mediocrity, and all that is bad. Unfortunately, we have swallowed so much of it that when we are mourning, we wear black. We must wake up. We have to wake up. Because that's the cliche they have in mind. They are the empires of good, others are the empires of evil, and we are the empires of slaves. This is how the imperialists see the world. You have to understand this. And then, I am going to make a point, therefore, towards certain intellectuals who continues to preach for the imperialists, that they ignore this part of history. I am not making it up. It has been declassified. You will find everything, as I said, in the libraries or everywhere, on Google. These intellectuals have not read this. They don't know the history of this world. Maybe it's out of dishonesty or some few dollar bills which led them to always preach for the imperialists. It is necessary that our intellectuals arrive at certain time to preach to raise awareness among our people, our popular masses, so that they understand where they came from and how they are seen by imperialists. Let us take the history of some wars. You follow the Iraq War, a big lie that was invented. So-called possession of weapons of mass destruction by certain senators at the level of the United States did everything to have the proof. They did not find it. Remember that several people resigned from the CIA After this war, evidence was fabricated from all sides. The Secret Service of the West helped them to fabricate evidence, and we remember that the same Niger was accused also, mounting to a false agreement, a false contract of sales of uranium to Iraq. This is the same process that they wanted to bring last time, to supposedly say Niger is selling clandestine uranium to Iran. It has already been seen. They pretext that, but there was no evidence. Even the United Nations ultimately found that there was no tangible evidence of the presence of weapons of mass destruction, but they had their objective. It was necessary to destroy Iraq. They destroyed Iraq. They created the Islamic State, just like they created the Taliban in the 80s. They equip the armies and then they pretend to come and fight them. Understand the game. It has not lasted too long. We have to wake up and let us understand all this and become aware of our situation and fight for our future. All these wars were invented going to Iraq, Syria, Libya, with the aim of destabilizing the world for their own benefit, because no one must be able to match them. This is what we are experiencing today in the Sahel through the terrorism that it brings to us, because they will always find black people who will get excited, who will take up arms against their black brothers. That is what we are experiencing. They have never left this model. Unfortunately, many people agree with them. Because of a few dollar bills, they will sell very cheap to the imperialists and they start fighting their brothers. I want to make this little history of the world so that you understand how imperialists sees our world. Summarize it in this small triangle. In the second phase, I must explain to you why we have to fight. A little story. In 2015, at Timbuktu, when we met, I was in charge of security at the airport. In our patrol, we met individuals who were roaming around. One of these individuals was traumatized. I made him understand that it was dangerous to roam around the base because they can get killed. He told me he wanted to be killed, he wants to die. I tried to understand their story. Some were crazy, others were normal, but they were looking for death because of terrorism. They explained to us that when the terrorist returns to Timbuktu, the Manchu who was explaining that to me, one evening, terrorists show up at his house and wanted to rape his wife in front of him. He opposed. They left. The next day, they took him out of his home and brought him to the public square. He was accused of theft. His hand was cut off. He was beaten and he returned home. His son, who was 16 years old, who was taking care of his mother, they came back. They raped the woman. They took away his son. They continued to rape his wife for days until the woman committed suicide. And they took his son. And he has never found his son again. For him, he prefers to die. That is why he walks around till the day that they will shoot him. It will please him. Others have suffered the same fate. They were taken from their homes because they refused to let the terrorists touch their wives or daughters. And the next day, they came to take them away. They brought them to the public square. They beat them. And then they go around doing their dirty business. Many families have been destroyed. They are criminals, rapists, bandits, drug traffickers who are armed and who smell dissolution in our land. They do not do it in the name of any religion. Unfortunately, here in Burkina Faso, some villagers have been compromised by these individuals. I speak with knowledge of the facts. In 2022 in Gote, I was in charge of my unit in a village because they do not want us to stay there because they were in good understanding with the terrorists. Those who are listening know what we are talking about. Several other units are witness. Some villages have refused categorically that the FDS are on their soil because they are in good understanding with the terrorists. We made them understand that there is no possible alliance with the criminals because they are the one who decides the day the park would be. Later, I think that many villages understood that when the park was broken, they returned to social media to call for help. We went there, that it is to say, no matter what, they will come to tell you. No matter the possible flattery, no matter the pact you sign with them, the day they decide to put an end to the pact, they will come and kill and end the pact. There is no possible alliance with terrorists. There is no possible alliance with these criminals. They must be fought. Today, we are unfortunately seeing a phenomenon in our cities. Certain people like to go from class to class to make the wives of certain FDS and certain VDPs understand to the families of some people who failed for their country that they had a solution with the terrorists. It is us who wanted to make war. That is why all this is happening. How is it that human beings sees everything that is happening, including the world, can have such words? Do not mistake. Either we fight them or they fight us. That is all. People are hiding. These people are supposedly hiding behind a semblance of dialogue or negotiation. Yet they will bring you and drag you in the mud. That is the objectives of imperialists, that the confusion lasts for as long as it lasts, that your state should not be structured, and that they continue to benefit from your wealth. The longer it lasts, the more it suits them. And unfortunately, these individuals who move from class to class play the game of the imperialists. If they are hearing me, let them stop now, because they will go and fight themselves. We ourselves have no choice but to fight, and we have chosen to fight. And it is through this that we will be free, that we will truly be independent. To do this, we have taken time to diagnose the deep problems of Burkina Faso. I admit that the problem is real and deep. The problem is there. We have diagnosed it, and we are discovering day by day the system. Several knots has been defected, but the knot remains to be defected because every day that God made, we discover certain practice. I can understand several decades this system has been installed. It has become like a gene in our DNA, but it is necessary that we therefore arrive at subtracting this gene from our DNA and to be able to build a new Burkina Faso. That is why in the third phase of my speech, I will provide guidelines in some key areas. We will not give details of our program, if we can say so, because when the program is known in details, they will anticipate it and place obstacles on our path and prevent us from achieving our goals. But we can therefore summarize it in few words. As you can see, in the field of defense and security, we have opted for the fight. And for that, we have almost doubled the numbers in our armed force. We continue to recruit, and I think that recently there have been the launch of recruitment in the posts of officers and senior officers. And very soon, in a few days, the recruitment of at least 10,000 soldiers should be launched. We will continue to strengthen the workforce because despite the recruitment that has been done, there is still a need for military personnel. Everywhere in Burkina Faso, some villages continue to want the military presence, so there is need to continue recruiting and equip. And I can assure you that we have been on this path since January 2023. We were able to launch an equipment program. It's true, the war is crazy. There is war everywhere. No nation would take his equipment and sell. They manufactured yours. What happened is that the equipment took almost 18 months to arrive, but the first ones have started to arrive, as you can see the last time. And the equipment will continue to come because we want the level of our army to reach a level never equaled in the sub-region. This equipment program will continue. And you are the actors of this program. Because since we are fighting, I can tell you, it is so-called friend of Burkina who were there for a long time, who squeezed our world. Even a single cartridge of Kalashnikov we have not received from anyone to support our fight. It is paid by you, and we will continue to stand together with our people to be able to lead this fight. We have partners who have agreed to sell us equipment and even offer to deliver strategic equipment to us, and that we can pay with time. We thank them for this gesture. And we say thank you again to the people who understood the meaning of the fight, that we must fight. If we do not fight, they will come to get us at home. Like in a chicken cooperative or in a sheep fold, every morning they will choose who they want to go and execute in public square to scare the others, to go and cut off their hands or feet in public to scare others. That is their tactics. We will fight them. And we will provide a means to do so. If it happens tomorrow that we are stuck in a certain momentum, we will come back again to the people and ask for even more sacrifice to be able to reach the goal. Because despite your contribution, I told you earlier that certain powers refuse to sell us equipment. They block the equipment we have bought in some countries because they have the license of certain components, and these powers exploit minerals in Burkina Faso. I say it here effortlessly and solemnly, this has to stop. We will withdraw the exploitation permits. We will not allow this. You cannot exploit our resources and refuse to sell us equipment and also block our equipment. We are not going to accept this. We are going to withdraw our exploitation permit and we will exploit it ourselves. Coming back. To conclude on this section of defense, we are not going to dwell on this too much. But know that all that has already arrived. Men are in training. Other equipments are coming. And this war, we are going to lead it. Many strategies have already been written, and we adopt them to the behavior of the enemy. And we will defeat this terrorism very soon here in Burkina Faso, and even in the AES. Regarding the field of public service, for a long time, we spent time warning a number of actors. But we understood that the phenomenon is so deep. Corruption, bad governance in the different administration, the lack of ethics, deceit. Some bodies have been implemented as part of the fight against corruption, and recently certain others have been taken, which concerns bonuses of whistleblowers. The last act to be taken will be done before the end of this month. It is an organ which will have to sit in all ministries to take charge of certain matters, malfunction of acts of corruption, and power to act. And these organs will be ready. Because we have a lot of hard workers in the administration, but who are put to the shadows, who are often sidelined, because for a long time, it is the most corrupt, the most dishonest, who have been brought to light. They are the ones who benefit from all the advantages, and so I tell the workers to be aware of these individuals who are losing their privilege, because they will continue to manipulate you, to poison you, and to send you to bad posture. Pay attention to those individuals who are losing their privilege, because we are not going to allow either an elite, which therefore had been programmed to take all the rights in our various administrations. The last organ will be put in place before the end of this month, and the real work will begin. You will hear them say everywhere that we do not respect certain texts, we do not respect certain laws, but there are no laws or texts which are held in this fight. When it is for the interests of the fatherland that they hold to say we are going to go in this direction. We are in the process of recruitment adopt a line of conduct. We are making diagnosis to check attendance and to see the needs. It is not excluded that during the year, certain competitions will be launched to increase staff in some places. Certainly, there was a wave of competition which was launched, but in all the environments, they are taking stock. If there is a need, I say, if there is a need, we will continue to recruit to be at an acceptable level and to be able to operate the different organs of the country for the happiness of the popular masses. In the area of diplomacy, we have opted for a common diplomacy in all decisions within the AES. All the decisions with regards to partners, whether Africans or abroad, will be taken unanimously within the AES. But we have also opted for a diplomacy of truth. We do not intend to put ourselves in some logic to lie or cover up the realities to say it is diplomacy. It is wrong. That is not diplomacy. I can tell you that what you see in superstructures when people come into court and come out to speak into the microphone, it is only a visible part of the iceberg. What happened inside the closed door have nothing to do with diplomacy. And we have therefore subscribed to this logic of saying clear things to the people. Some will criticize us. Others will even go as far as to say that no head of state should speak like that. Head of state should not do that. But we tell them that maybe those people who criticize in this way when we tell the truth, maybe they have a school where they learn how to be a head of state, how the head of state must be. Otherwise, I have not seen this school. And why? Why must we necessarily look like others or do like others? We want to create our model, our identity, and I think that the Burkinabe, by definition, is a man of integrity. We want the truth, and when the truth comes out, even if we have made mistakes, we must have the courage to come and tell you about it. We have sinned, and we ask for forgiveness. If you forgive us, you forgive us. But we don't want it anymore. We no longer want to be part of this lying diplomacy. Africa, wake up. Africa, rise up. Africa without borders. Africa, continental free trade area. The time is now. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.